Hi Rachel, it's Thursday, April 21st, 2011, really late at night, so by the time you see this, it'll be Good Friday, 2011. I am really off schedule for the videos, I'm sorry. So to make it up for you, I will try to make videos all this weekend.
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Everything that's wonderful is what I feel when we're together. Brighter than a lucky penny when you're near. The rain goes, disappears, dear, and I feel so fine. Just to know that you are mine.
I'm sorry for your sugar high. I hate that. For some reason recently, I've gotten more sugar highs than normal. Like soda. I've never had coffee, but I don't think I'll ever try it, because if I get really hyper off of soda, I don't know what'll happen when I have coffee. But I normally end up like geeking out and going on random conversations about like purple giraffes, zip lines, and quantum theory. I'm sorry about the schedule issues. I guess I'll start the schedule again today. I marked it actually in my calendar, like day for day for the next year. So today I was supposed to be posting, and then tomorrow you can post your video and I'll post a response to it the same day. That would be cool. And then yeah, hopefully it'll be on track then. 49 days till you come over. So excited. We've gone under the 50 mark. That was a raise the roof. I'm also glad you like the retreat. I love that feeling that you get after the retreat when you're all of a sudden aware of God's presence in your life. And I know you said that you don't really feel it because you feel that it's always in your life. And I love that about you. That's one of my favorite characteristics about you, is that you're one of the most faithful people that I know. In actually probably the most faithful person I know my age. And I'm glad I know you as a friend, because around my house, my mom and I are really like into it, but like it's not really a family-wide thing, sadly, and we're on Cuban time, so we miss parts of Mass. But whenever I talk to you, I'm aware of God's presence in my life again, and I love that about you, especially like at school. You are amazing at showing empathy towards people and reminding them of God's presence even if they don't even believe in God. And I think that in your lifetime you will probably convert some people who are extremely atheistic or extremely agnostic, because you're just that awesome. You have that way of like being at school, and if someone's having a rough day, being able to talk to them about God even if they don't believe in God. And you're able to relate to them, and it's so amazing, especially in the school atmosphere where normally people aren't comfortable to talk about God with other people. You are like the only person I know, you and Alyssa. Awesome. You just talk to everyone about that, and that's one of the best qualities about you guys. You're awesome. And God also has amazing ways of turning bad things into good things. Like, when I first moved here, I was so sad for a while because I was just missing everyone. But it lasted a couple months. I was just sad. And truthfully, it sort of got me to church again because it reminded me that I could turn to Him whenever. So that's what got me so involved in my church here. It's wonderful. Also, I'd like to tell you a story, and I'm not going to be too specific because this poor guy has gone through a lot, but there was this one kid in my youth group, and from the get-go, he'd had, serious family problems. I feel so bad for him because he was born into crime, like, literally, from a very young age. He'd been to juvie, like, several times for violent acts, and he just recently came to our church, like, I'm talking last autumn, and started volunteering, and now he's a youth leader, and he's amazing, and just his story is extremely inspiring because, I mean, you look at a kid who's probably like stabbed someone, he had a small history of selling drugs, like that's how deep he was in all of this, and he just came back to our church, and he's awesome. It's like the most inspirational story I've ever heard, of a kid our age, it's amazing. And I feel a lot of admiration for that kid. He's amazing. Yeah. That was amazing. And do not feel bad for crying. You're awesome. Also, speaking of which, I went to Bible study this week and I found this book that my mom had. Saints, A Year of Faith and Art. So I looked for my saint because he's on the calendar. I don't know if you know this, but every saint has a little bit of a date here. I'm sorry it's sort of backwards here. But May 26th is my Saint Philip Neri. Here, I'll show you a picture of him. Saint Philip Neri. That's the Virgin Mary up here. And here is some Easter, I think those are Easter lilies. That's one of, each saint has their sort of little article that they have with them to identify the picture of him. Normally he's wearing this red vestment. I don't know why. But also, he has sort of a Santa look to him, does he not? Well, anyway, I'll read you the description of him. His little thing is on May 26th. It's a feast day where you celebrate the saint. He's Saint Philip Neri. And I just found this amazing thing about him. Born in 1515 at Florence, Philip demonstrated such good character as a child that he was named Philip the Good. He became a priest in 1551 and dedicated himself to the education of the young of the city. Listen to this. Using a new method that joined theater and music to the catechism. What? What did you just say, my favorite saint in the entire world? Oh my goodness, it's so funny because I really, especially with the acting studio, I really love acting. It's so fun. And I keep hearing that it's an immoral... I don't know how to say this. I think that most of the time, sadly, if you go to a Broadway production, then you'll end up with some sort of an inappropriate joke or something. But the fact that this saint implemented it into the catechism. What? I just love it. I really do believe that there's good theater, good moral theater out there, and I'm glad that the saint that I chose, without even knowing this, was using it to teach catechism to people. It says, with the support of Pope Gregory the 13th, bad with Roman numerals, he founded the Congregation of the Oratory in 1575. He died in Rome in 1595 and was canonized, made a saint, in 1622. He is depicted with a long face and white beard. Santa. A black habit or chasuble. I think the chasuble is this red thing. While adoring the Virgin Mary. He is invoked against rheumatism and earthquakes. Now, each of these saints has sort of a... It's also... Well, in the Catholic faith, you have these saints who we believe are in heaven. And you can pray to them to talk to God and intercede, almost. Where, for example, Saint Philip Neri, rheumatism and earthquakes, if you... Japan. I guess you could pray for Japan in the name of Philip Neri. And you would believe that he would be in heaven, and he would also be praying for them. It's like another person added praying for them. If you get what that whole just thing is. And it can get pretty funny with these things. I think there's a patron saint of ugly people. I don't believe that anyone's truly ugly, but if there's a patron saint of ugly people, there's also a patron saint of cheese merchants. Although it's not, his story isn't too pretty. He was one of the 12 disciples. I think Bartholomew, right? Bartholomew, one of the 12 disciples. He's a saint. But he is the patron saint of cheese merchants because he was skinned alive as being a martyr. Some people who die for their faith are considered martyrs and they're canonized. For example, when I was learning about abortion. Have I told you about this? I'm going to digress for a little bit because I have to tell you this. We did a youth group on abortion a couple weeks ago. And we had a priest actually come and he was able to answer some of the more complicated questions. And I think I've told you my viewpoint on it before. Previously, I told you that I was pro-life. But there were some circumstances in which I could understand the mother freaking out and having an abortion. For example, if there was some sort of a complication in a pregnancy, where the doctor would say, if you have this baby, you'll die. So I asked the priest about that in the youth group, and he gave me a perfect definition. It's what the Catholic Church believes on it. Now, the Catholic Church believes that abortion, like, I don't know if you've heard what they actually do in abortions. I wanted to vomit, but an abortion, going in and purposefully aborting the baby, there's no reason for that. That's killing a baby. If the mom has some sort of a complication, I'm sorry, this is just the thing that sort of clicked in my head, was that the baby cannot be treated like a disease. Do you get that? Even if the mom is in some sort of danger, you cannot just abort the baby like it was some sort of a disease that would kill her, or some sort of a cancer. Now, there are some things where you can do where if the baby is developed enough, you can have the baby prematurely born and then raised in a glass, I think maybe some sort of an incubator. I think it's an incubator, yeah. Raised in an incubator and being able to develop in the incubator, it would save both the child and the mom. However, if the baby is too, if either the pregnancy itself would kill the mother and they can't prematurely, if nothing can be done, then the priest said that the mom was being called to be a martyr. And there's actually been saints canonized where I think there was a saint canonized, I'm not sure exactly her name, but she died giving birth to her baby because she had been told that giving birth to the baby would kill her, but she did it anyway. And that's the whole martyrship thing. Now, to be completely straight about this, I've always been a little bit about martyrs, but it turns out that martyrs in the Catholic Church, like the Catholic Church wouldn't say, oh, go kill yourself for your faith. That's not martyrship. It's like someone who stands up for their faith and dies in the process. That's what I always thought, because my mom always told me, not my mom, the Catholic faith puts a little bit of value into suffering. Not personal suffering. You don't seek out suffering. That's the whole thing that I thought. Because some people, you see, like Da Vinci Code, these people who are like whipping themselves. And truly that is sort of so practiced in some very, very strict, sort of semi-Catholic, not really. But the purpose of the suffering bit is that if you really love someone, then you're willing to make personal sacrifice, not like killing, but you're willing to give up something for them. Like, if I have a best friend, if you had a birthday party and I had to go and wait, no, that doesn't really fit. Wait a second. I will think of something. If you were in some sort of trouble, that I would be willing to stop what I was doing to go help you. You know, that sort of suffering, like small sacrifice. Not that sort of sacrifice, but like, for example, people who end up living very short lives because they have cancer or some sort of disease. We believe that that sort of suffering almost purifies, that going through that is sort of a developmental process. Now, you don't go looking for it, but if you're doing something good and you have to suffer to do that something good, that it sort of counts as brownie points. Now, that's too casual. The whole thing is very, very complex, so I can't even explain it. But that's another thing. I just had to sort of explain that because I like, just talking it out sort of helps me. When you just hear suffering is good, it sounds like that. Well, yeah, that's my whole spiel. And, well, yeah, I'm excited for you to come to a Bible study because we are actually continuing them all throughout the summer. What we're doing is that the Catholic Church has 3 cycles, like 1 cycle per year. Oh my gosh, I have 30 seconds left. Well, I actually ran out of time there, actually. Sorry. I will explain the rest to you tomorrow. And you can also post your video tomorrow and I'll just respond to it on the same day. That'll be cool. But I'm going to make that all up to you because my schedule's just been weird this week. I'm sorry. And I will see you tomorrow.